Link state advertisements, or LSA, still exist for OSPFv3. And the knowledge we have from OSPFv2 about LSAs applies here for OSPFv3, but we're going to have to augment that knowledge. We're going to have to modify it because they have made some changes to OSPFv3 LSAs to improve them, make them better, because as we'll see, OSPFv2 LSAs were not necessarily efficient. For example, let's start off by looking at our Type I LSA. What is that? That's our router LSA. That is the LSA that every single router generates in an OSPF domain, and it's the LSA that gets flooded only inside an area. So it gets flooded inside of an area, and what is it? It's the LSA that says, this is me. I am router so-and-so. I have these particular networks that are part of these particular interfaces, and this is their cost. So it's giving all that link state information. And then when a router inside of an area gobbles up all the different Type I LSAs that are flowing through the environment, those routers running the shortest path first algorithm can piece together, okay, this router said they were here and they were attached to this link, and this router is over here and they said they're attached to this link, so therefore this router has to be a neighbor of this router, and so on and so forth. So they're building this tree all by themselves based on these router LSAs that are going through inside the area. The problem with this is that there's too much information in the Type I router LSA for OSPFv2. So what they did for OSPFv3 is they've taken information out of it. So instead of saying, this is me, this is who I am, this is everything I know about, they've changed the router LSA to simply say, this is me, and this is who I'm connected to. That's all it says now. Now, why would they go ahead and do that? Well, because now, if a change happens, for example, we add another interface for OSPFv3, we don't have to generate that Type I LSA anymore because there's not another router that I'm connected to that anybody has to know about. So instead, we are going to be sending a different type of LSA, which just gives updated information. Like, oh, you can add this now to what you already know about me. And as a result, you don't have to recalculate the whole tree because you already know how to get to me. Just add this network. You already know the shortest path to get to my other networks. Just throw this network in there. So you no longer have to perform that complete recalculation. So that was the whole point behind removing this specific information. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. Let's crack open R7's database and start to look at some of these LSAs. Show IPv6 OSPF database. So we're on R7 over in area 567, and we can see we have 3 Type I LSAs that we've received. One from R5, one from R6, and one from ourselves. So let's take a look here at the one from R5 as an example. Show IPv6 OSPF database, and it's a router LSA. And I'm going to say I want to know about the one from the router that advertised it to me, so it's 192.5.5.5. That's the advertising router. And when we look at it, what does it say? It says for area 567, what? I'm connected to a transit network. And this is the neighbor, and it happens to be the designated router, and its router ID is 192.7.7.7. Let's look at the one that R6 sent us. R6 is saying, this is me, and I'm connected up to this router over a point-to-point link of 192.7.7.7. Does it say anything about any of the interfaces that are participating, the networks on the routers? No, there is no prefix information in here whatsoever anymore. Not like OSPFv2. So let's back it up a bit. 7.7.7.7. So even ourselves, what are we saying in our own Type I LSA that we send out? We say, I'm connected to this transit network, and I'm connected to this point-to-point network. On the point-to-point network, I know about 192.6.6.6. And on the transit network, well, I'm the designated router. So if you want to know more about the transit network, you better take a look at my Type 2 LSA now. So you can find out who is part of that transit network, who's part of that multi-axis network. So in the router LSA, we no longer have the specifics of the prefixes, the networks that are attached to the router. That information has been removed.